Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Porch Talk. This is episode 24. This episode is sponsored by Wyatt pole holders. If you have fishing poles that you like to display safely on the wall or just need a way to get them off the floor, Wyatt pole holders has what you need. Sold on Etsy, he has a nice selection of fishing racks fit your needs. Pine, oak, and poplar are just some of the wood used to craft these beautiful racks. Engravings are also available upon request.
If you live in Southwest Virginia, Southern West Virginia, or Eastern Kentucky, find yourself looking for an equipment rental, give Cantrell Holdings Equipment Rentals a call at 276-596-3078.
It's been a minute.
Pretty good. Carolina makes me mad, and I can't stand it right now being a fan, but it's...
they make me mad, too. I keep betting on them.
Yeah, you need to quit. It's a long season. Hoping they're peaking, hope they peaked and playing really good and going downhill early enough to where they can get back playing good again when the right time. So if you're going to start playing bad, now's the time, I guess, instead of later in the year. So
yeah. I mean,
hopefully that's all it is. I hope it ain't more of a a serious issue rather than they're just not shooting well, or maybe getting some teams when they're playing good, maybe other teams are shooting really well. Hopefully that's all it is, but I don't know. I don't know.
Well, it seems like y'all have a little bit of an issue with the zone, don't you? Is what I know Thomason mentioned it last night.
Not really. It's just knocking down shots. They get good. They got good looks. I mean, I wish they could. I wish they were a little less dependent on the three in the zone, but they don't play. Old Carolina had two bigs in the game all the time. Back when they were really good, and in the Roy Williams era, you had two really good bigs that were good passing. Two good passing bigs. One could go to the foul line, and they play that high-low game. Last night they used Elliot Cadeau there, and it worked out really well. But that's only because they knocked down some shots from his passes. Only a few times did it really get to Baycott or end up points in the paint off of him being in the middle. The other times were kickouts for threes. So I mean, if you knock the threes down, you can. It doesn't matter what kind of zone they're in. It'll get a team out. It ain't so much that the zone gives us problems. It's just we not knock shots down out of it. I think it's the main problem.
Yeah.
I would like to see him go to, if they play Syracuse in a tournament, for example, or something. I would like to see him go to, or any team that throws a zone at him, maybe put Washington in with Baycott and see how that goes. But then on the defensive end, then you're giving up. One of them's gonna have to guard somebody, out of their position. So it's the kind of the pros and cons. It is. I like to see them mix it up a little bit more though, and play them both at the same time. But yeah, I don't think it's necessarily the zone that gives them problems. I think it's just they're not shooting a high percentage out of it.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. I thought when Boeheim, when he left, that I know that they had success with the zone and stuff, but it just seemed to be his thing. I thought they might switch it up a little bit.
Well, they did. Syracuse doesn't usually play. They're not playing a zone all the time like they were. They don't go to
every game.
Yeah, they don't. They're not being primarily a zone team. I don't think. They played Carolina man, I think, for a little while, then they went to a zone later in the game, or mixed it up some, and then stayed in it more late in the game. But I think they're kind of moving out of that. I don't think they're a primary zone team anymore. You might need to check on that to make sure I'm telling you right.
Well, in my misery over the last few days after the Super Bowl, I thought I might just find some happiness in UVA basketball, because we were on a pretty good winning streak. We had one of the, I think maybe the best home winning streaks in the nation. I think it was at 30 games, something like that.
Yeah.
And I decided to throw it on there against Pitt last night. we got beat at home. I can't catch
Yeah.
a break at all. So I mean that
Yeah, it
is what it
wasn't,
is.
and
But
it was a bad loss. Y'all
yeah, got beat
yeah,
pretty
pretty
bad.
bad.
Yeah, but I mean we're playing better. We have a lot of young talent, a lot of transfers we had come in. So I think Tony's done a great job putting us in the position that we're in. Uh, it seems as though every time we get ranked, we get beat, but
Yeah.
I think we're still gonna make the tournament. I think we could go in the ACC tournament and do something. I guess it just depends on matchups, but we got you all next Saturday, which I think that'll be a good test to see kind of where we're at.
Yeah.
And we got you at home too, so
If we don't play, if it just depends on how we play, whether it'll be a good test for you or not.
well, I mean, if we can get that win, maybe we'll have we'll do better going against Duke and Cameron, but we'll see. I guess for those of y'all that are listening or watching on YouTube, uh, this episode is a little different. I say different only because it's different than what we've been doing the last few weeks. Um, just scheduling and stomach bug on my end, kind of pushing things back. We still have a great special guest episode that's he's waiting there that we're going to get to. Tonight we had a few people we were going to try to get. Things didn't work out, and then we thought we might just throw it back a little bit old school. And I say old school, but I guess it means just a few months when we first started this thing. We're going to do it just me and Jamar. But I told you, Jamar, earlier, I think it's kind of, I mean, of course, I love our interviews and stuff like that. That's special. And we're going to get right back to that. But I am kind of excited about doing this one, just me and you, and kicking it like we did the first few times.
Yeah, man. Yeah, we don't. Yeah, we've been trying to do, like, obviously do the players and stuff, and that's great and everything. But um, this is how it started, so it is kind of odd. Like, we didn't. We're just kind of winging it tonight too. We're not really. We ain't got a lot of stuff wrote down, and we're just kind of going to talk, kind of like what originally we had talked about doing was just us getting on here and having conversations, not really making sure we cover this or that, but we're just going to kind of hit on a few things here and there and kind of keep covering what we've been covering. But no guest is kind of it is a lot less stressful as far as preparation. We don't have to. I don't want to say stressful because it's not really stressful, but we don't have to structure it as much.
Yeah, definitely. And we are going to try to, not structured wise, but we're going to try to hit on just a few games this week. What happened there Tuesday and Monday in high school, and I think Jamar, we're going to try to get into the regional, right? The tournament. Just probably highlight a few things that could happen.
Kind of preview what the upcoming region, because the districts are this week, ongoing, right now. But yeah, I mean, there's too many districts for us to try to touch on each one of them in every game and stuff. But we'll just kind of throw out what we think about what the region might look like, and maybe who we think will pick our final, who we think will get to the region semis and stuff like that.
Yeah, and they're the games I have for yesterday and Monday. There's really not many, so I'll probably just like go through them like we usually do, and as soon as we get done with those, kind of hit on just a few things, and then just jump into the region. But after that, we're kind of just we're going to hit on a few random things, kind of like we did when we first started. We haven't really got into the UFC and stuff as much as of the last few months. Just so much stuff going on in our area. But we are huge UFC fans, so we're going to touch on that a little bit. And huge news out of Bristol for the Country Thunder, the lineup there. So we'll talk about that. Big country music concert goers here, you in particular. So it's going to be a fun one.
Yeah. Let's go ahead and just jump right into this real quick and get your pain and suffering over with. I had a Super Bowl this Sunday in case anybody missed it. And for anybody that wasn't interested in what was going on off the field and up in the press box, there was a game going on the field. Good game. I didn't get to watch much of it. I was, busy, and then by the time I did turn it on, I fell asleep a few minutes after I turned it on. But Cameron's 49ers, couple short. Probably should have won, but play or two here and there. You can't make a few of the mistakes they made and beat good teams, and Mahomes and Randy Reed and that bunch in the playoffs are hard to beat. There's a bunch of conspiracy theories why they're hard to beat, but that's not for here. You talk about your day. How I want to hear everything. I want to hear how your preparation for the day, what you ate.
Oh gosh.
Did you even feel like eating because
man.
you're coming off a stomach bug? Everything. Just lead us up to it. Tell us your thoughts on the game, and just fill us in.
I haven't talked about this day since we lost. To do it here and being recorded about it, it's something different. So I am a very passionate 49ers fan. I'm not one that jumped on the bandwagon. I'm only 28, but in my lifetime, I went through the Singletary days, the Tom Zula, through having Jeff Garcia, through having Garoppolo, through having Alex Smith, Kaepernick. I mean, I've been there through it all. This is the third time that I've watched us lose. But before I get to that, I guess if you want to know about my preparation and everything, I am a very superstitious guy. But I will say that Saturday going into Sunday, I got sick. So one of the reasons why we didn't get to put out an episode there Friday night with our special guest is because my son was sick. He decided that he was going to do the kind thing and share it with his daddy. So I got sick Saturday, and I was puking and, just everything. So that kind of prevented us from doing the podcast, but also going into Sunday kind of prevented me from maybe doing the normal things that we would have done. We were planning on going up to my in-laws and having a big, feast and everything for the game. That didn't quite work out, but just Sunday, mostly, man, it was just sitting around here at the house, trying not to think about it, because it seems like throughout the whole playoffs, I would think about it the day of the game, and I'd get super stressed out, have a headache. As crazy as that sounds, but that's usually what happened. So Sunday came around about midway through the day. I did want to start getting in I want to say in the zone, but not really like thinking about us as much as just getting excited for the fact that it's a Super Bowl and to be happy that we were even in it. So I started watching some Super Bowl halftime shows, going through the top 20 there, which I disagreed with some of them on the YouTube videos I was watching, but there was still something special about watching Dre and Eminem and that halftime show from a few years ago. And then, it was great. My favorite one, though, and I think that seems to be number one in all the rankings. Well, I say my favorite. Tom Petty's was probably one of my favorites. As far as probably what the best was Prince. And watching him perform Purple Rain in the rain with the purple lights on there, that was amazing. So I did some of that stuff just to kind of get me in the zone for the game Sunday night.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't really watch too many highlights or anything like that. I didn't want to get too high. Didn't want to get too pumped up. I'm trying to think. The meal for Sunday, we usually do something barbecue related. We ended up. I did some ribs, but since we were not feeling the best,
I was gonna say, what was the plan to eat whatever you could to keep down, or had you feeling better by that point?
So the original plan was, to do all kinds of barbecue stuff and have a big feast. But after that, going into Sunday, I started feeling a little better. I started thinking, well, okay, the worst has already came, so it was time for me to see what I could stomach. was trying to think what I even ate before that, but midway through the day, I had those ribs. I was like, you know what? It's a Super Bowl. I'm gonna throw them on. I haven't done ribs in a few months. It seems like might not be that long, but I threw them on. I don't know. It got down to it. It was about game time. I say it's about 2 hours before game time. They were done. They weren't bad, uh, but I'm kind of like when I'm watching the game, I kind of nervous eat and nervous like drink, which I had some water there. Um, so I just wanted something else. We got some pizza from Pizza Plus down here. Um, that's always seems to be my go-to when I just want something quick. Um, but yeah, I mean that was kind of the as far as the meals and stuff go, and that was just me kind of feeling like I could probably do it. And it didn't really upset my stomach. So I think I was through the worst of it as far as the sickness goes. But that paled in comparison to how I felt after the game.
Mm-hmm.
um, yeah. Did you? So you got to watch some of it? You said.
I watched a little bit of the start on the phone, and then listened to some throughout, but not really enough to count that I even really watched much of it. I seen a couple highlights, I think, and then got home, turned it on. It was like near the end of the third quarter, I think it was. Uh, Turned it on, fell asleep, woke up to you all kicking the field goal to tie, or them kicking the field goal to tie. I'm not sure which it was, tied at 19.
They did
They
because we missed the field goal that would have given us a 4-point lead
okay.
if it's at the time we're thinking.
Okay, I woke up to them driving down there, and I mean, raising up, looking at it, being like, "Oh, they're in really good field position," and then like remembering them kicking it. Then I fell back asleep, and then I woke up. Then I think I woke up and maybe vaguely remember it being like looking at it and being like, "I think it's an overtime," and then apparently falling right back asleep again. Not even so, I didn't really watch any of the end.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I missed all the good moments there towards the end, but it is what it is. I I tried to watch it, but I mean, I didn't. I wasn't going to sleep because I didn't care. I did try to watch it. I just dozed off.
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying. When my team's not in it, I have a hard time watching it. Well, it depends on how close we make it. If we're right at it, like at the NFC Championship, and we lose, then we play 2 weeks later, or the Super Bowl's 2 weeks later. I have a hard time bringing myself to watch it, or at least watch it as I would if we were in it, or if we just suck and we had no shot at making it anyway. I'm usually a little more into it. Um, but the game itself, yeah, I mean it. If there was a year that I thought we could do it, I thought it was this year. I felt a lot more confident this year going into this one. Uh, some things have came out that I didn't know. Armstead, I reckon he had tore his meniscus a few weeks ago. He'd been playing on it. We had another guy that was hurt. Which these are no excuses. They still, Armstead played good.
Well, it
If
sounds like
anything, they probably struggled. They probably struggled more in the previous two games, but Armstead played well. I'm not big into conspiracies, so you know I know that a lot of the 49er fan base right now is throwing a fit because of there was zero holding calls the whole game, and there hasn't been a holding call called on the Chiefs in the last three Super Bowls and three total games. So that is a little, odd. But I'm not. I think it's just by chance. It just didn't happen. I'm not one that believes the game's rigged. I think there is errors that we made that cost us that game. Uh, Not to spend a whole lot of time on it because I could probably go on it for an hour. But I really think that it came down to a few things. One for me, the main one, and I think that you saw the aftermath of that today. But I think that Wilkes, the defensive coordinator we had, called a great game for about 90% of it. But he struggled whenever Mahomes was in the 2-minute offense. He decided that, hey, we don't want to give up the touchdown, which is reasonable. but you don't need to play your DBs 10 yards off the ball against Mahomes. It's not going to work. I mean, I know you don't want to get beat deep, but at the same time, you can't just give him that. And your defense has been playing good all game, man to man, and not really giving them that much space. You really saw it there in overtime. That last drive, he played off like 2 or 3 plays. It got to the point that Kyle caught a timeout, and you could see him on the top of the screen throw his tablet or whatever it is they have, because he was so ticked off about it. And after he watched film, I guess it didn't help matters because he fired him today.
Yeah.
So, and it didn't say the 49ers fired Wilkes. It said Kyle Shanahan fired Wilkes. So,
yeah.
And I think that had been an issue all year. He's not bad. He's a good defensive coordinator. It's just he had moments to where he would just, I don't know where his head went. And so I think that cost us at the main end. I think our defense was playing well against Mahomes. We'd played great against him all game except for maybe 2 drives. But Purdy played good. I know a lot of people dog him because he didn't, make the highlight plays maybe. But the Chiefs' defensive staff and Spagnuolo talked about it. They said that he carved them up in the zone when they had it, and he really impressed them. He didn't give up any interceptions. I thought he did what he needed to. I think when it came down to it, that last drive where we could have scored a touchdown, possibly won the game, our offensive line did a lookout block and left the all-pro Chris Jones coming straight at him, and we had receivers open on that play, but that's not Purdy's fault. So, but it is what it is. It sucks. It really sucks to lose again, and you don't know if you're ever going to make it back there again. It's been almost 30 years since we've won one. It's been since I've been born, so I've never seen us win. So we'll get into the off season.
The defense dropping back, when situations like that. I think every NFL fan at some point has screamed at their television when their team's got a lead or a tie game, and they drop back in the coverage like that and try to prevent the big play, and it backfires. I think it happens way too often. At some point, I think these guys got to just realize that that's not going to work, especially against somebody like Mahomes. And you just have to hope you don't, tell your guys, hey, listen, you're on an island, or maybe not on an island, but you can't just sit back and give up that many chunk plays to a good team. It just, at some point, you got to be more aggressive than that.
Yeah, and it wasn't even like just a few yards off. It's like you see these situations during the game, and it happens during a lot of games to where you might have like a line that you need to get to at the main end, and they're like, okay, it's 4th down and 20. We're just gonna put our DBs across this line, which is the first down, and they're just playing not to give up that first down. Well, that's what he was doing just in his defense. Like he had them back that far, and you can't do that against him. I mean, we were getting to him, in the pass rush, which we hadn't done. I think that a lot of people get on the Kyle for the third quarter, and I understand it because he didn't run the ball quite as much as what I hoped he would. But I looked at our offense versus their defense as a chess match. We see it a lot when we watch MMA, when you see 2 high-level like strikers. Like sometimes you're not going to have the fireworks that you might see in some fights, and against those 2, you're not going to see the big fireworks because they're like Spagnuolo and Shanahan are so smart. They have to get what they can get. And so I think it was more of that. I think it was a great game. I mean, as much as I hate the result of it, it was a good game. I think it was the longest Super Bowl ever, and it was like the 7th longest game ever, if I'm not mistaken. So it was a good one. More people watched it than any other Super Bowl ever. Like I said, I just hate that we ended up on the wrong end of it.
Last thing I want to bring up on this Super Bowl is just your thoughts on some of the Niners players apparently not knowing the overtime rules for the Super Bowl or playoffs. what do you think that's about? Is that just not paying attention? Do the coaches not go over this, assuming they know this, or what do you think the deal is with that?
It has to be on the coaches. I don't think that cost us the game because even if like we didn't score the touchdown regardless, so it didn't matter.
Right.
But I think where the confusion was, I think, is because we elected to get the ball first, and
Mm-hmm.
so some people argue, why would you get it first and not second? Because you want to know if because you're automatically. It don't matter if they score a touchdown or what. You're going to get a chance to score. It's not like the
Right.
old overtime rules where you just score a
Right.
touchdown, it's done. It's new now. This was the first game they ever used these rules. Uh, so I could see the argument of being second, but here's the thing: is we just gave up a huge drive and had a goal line stand. So I think our defense was tired, and I get Kyle's like thought process was that one, you're going to give your defense a break for a second, and let's put our offense out there. But if we scored, they scored, then we get it third, and at that point, it's sudden death. So we score anything, we
Yeah.
win. And I think that's the way he was looking at it. But it's brought up in the media so much right now because everybody wonders why we didn't take the ball second, and then they blame it on the players didn't know, nobody knew. To answer your question, they should have known. I'm not sure that it would have changed the result any, but it just looks bad if they didn't know.
Then I wasn't even relating to them not knowing to why they took it first or anything like that. I just thought that was interesting and wondered what your take on it was, if how that
Yeah,
even happens. Because I mean, we know the rules. Like like I'd heard enough, watched enough on some kind of whatever sports show at some point to hear them talk about this. Got an alert on my phone or something to where I knew that that rule had changed. So how do they not? They're
yeah,
in. They're literally in the league and in the game. They just. Do you think they really just don't pay that much attention to like anything else, and it just never got brought up to them somehow? You think? I just can't believe that they don't know the rule. But like, I can see
yeah. I
them
don't.
completely zoning out anything related to football other than what's going on in their locker room. So maybe that's the excuse for them not to know, and the coaches have got to make sure they relay this message. I guess maybe the
Yeah,
coaches don't.
I
I don't know.
I put it on the coaches, but um, like I said, it didn't change the result. But I do think the thing that's most troubling to me, as far as the aftermath goes with the players and the coaches and stuff, is I think I can't even say his name, but our right guard, um, he was kind of throwing shade, I guess, at Burford because he got hurt and Burford came in. He was their backup right guard, which was their starter beginning of the year, and he's the one that just completely missed Chris Jones on that play. So the starter that was hurt, he said on Instagram, uh, if I was in there, pretty much Chris Jones wouldn't have had a straight line to the quarterback and all this stuff. Well, Burford got on there and was like, "Well, I didn't expect to see that when I got on." And the starter said, "I'm sorry, man. I woke up hungover, wasn't feeling good." But I don't like seeing the friction there. And the one that bothers me the most is Ayuk. He put on there on his Instagram story, uh, "Don't go away from what got you there." And the only thing I can think of he's talking about is in the third quarter that we didn't run the ball that much.
Yeah,
But it is what it is. That one hurts me only because he is a very important piece of our team, and he
yeah,
is up for a contract this summer. He's not one that we're going to lose, but like we need to re-sign him. We only have really of note Chris Young or Chase Young. But I said Chris Young, Chase Young and Kinlaw. So not really any like huge losses. Chase Young, I guess that could be a big one, but he was so hit or miss. So we can reload and we can get back there. It's just, when you get that close, you just don't know that you will get back there. We
yeah.
were also healthy, pretty healthy in comparison um, to the way we had been in the past. So you never know if you're going to go into next year and somebody's going to tear an ACL or whatever could happen.
Well, the whole run the ball thing, this is a trend for Shanahan. Uh, kind of happen. It's not the first time he's pulled this in a Super Bowl, so maybe next time figure something
Yeah.
out. But I would agree
Well,
with
Andy
you.
Reid.
It's a lot more of it's not as cut and dry as how you should run it. There's a lot more that goes into, like you said, well, we're gonna throw it on this against this look or this. You don't know what they're what they got wrote down and what their plan is. Like they could be setting something up. They could be is anything. It ain't just as simple as hey, we need to run it here and not run it here and whatever. Like just we've not run it the same amount of times we've passed. Like what I mean, it's more. There's more to it than that. It's a lot more complicated. So I'm not saying that
Yeah,
that's what
sure.
will happen, but I mean there is something to it though. To an extent, I can kind of see the criticism from people that outside of it, but he's obviously a brilliant coach. So like, if he told me there's I'm sure whatever reason he had was a good one.
Yeah, and well, I mean they had a lot more people in the box too, kind of wanting Purdy to throw, but they disguise their blitzes very well. I mean, Spagnuolo is amazing. He's been great in big games. I mean, he was the D coordinator for the Giants when they beat the undefeated Patriots that won Super Bowl. So he does a great job at just forming game plans and stuff like that. Um, but just to kind of close it out, a positive maybe to look forward to. Uh, Before Andy Reid has went on this big tear of Super Bowls and success that he's had, he lost the exact same amount of NFC championships and Super Bowls that Shanahan has so far. And now the next one would be the one that Andy Reid had won. So maybe Shanahan's going to follow in the same trend.
Never know.
Praying. No.
Yeah, you never know. By the way, in honor of late Toby Keith, I'm got my red solo cup.
Man, I would have thought about it. I had mine in there. Yeah, rest in peace. I didn't even think about. I'd love to have done something on Toby and not talked about him.
Yeah,
Has
he's
my history and stuff.
huge favorite of mine when I was, back in the day. He hadn't really had a lot of new stuff out here for a while, but I loved him, man. I thought he was very high on my list of people for a long time. He's one of the few that I don't say few, but he's one of the well, it's kind of few now at this point. It's not a huge list of people, but so he's one of the few that I hadn't got to see in person that I would have always really would have wanted to, and obviously I'll never get to do that, but yeah, sad day for country music, but
What's your favorite Toby Keith song?
I don't know. Well, I'll go ahead and do my throwback song for this week. Is one of my favorites of his. It's my list from 2001.
That's my favorite song by him.
I love that song.
Yeah.
Obviously, should have been a Cowboys classic. The patriotic stuff.
Yeah.
Never go wrong with that song. But or any of those like that. How You Like Me Now is a catchy. I mean, there's a really funny story to that song that makes it one of my favorites. But I won't tell it here. It's too long a story. Nobody would. It's almost one of them had you had to be there. I think stories, so it wouldn't make any sense anyway. But yeah, there's so many, man, and it's just to me it was. I know he didn't have as many like probably as big of a array of number ones and different whatever some of these people, and he was kind of outlawish before all these people that people call outlaws now are coming up. Like he was kind of stood alone for a while. The Hillman, a few more that were kind of over to the side that people really liked. Now you got several of those people that are kind of like that are going against the grain a little bit as far as what is regular country music now. But he was one of those. As far as for me, when I got old enough to really start listening to it and stuff, he was one of the first ones. I know he's not the first one, but he was one of the first, but what he did for the troops and all the shows he played, overseas and all that stuff with the um, whatever that tour's called and all that, and just I mean, he's just a great guy, man. Like, I heard a bunch of different stories come out this week that you never hear, but yeah, it was. I mean, obviously, I didn't know the guy, but like I was pretty when I heard about it, man. It's hard to hear.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, like you said, kind of went away when he got sick, so we hadn't really heard a lot from him as of recently. I mean, I think the last song that I remember him being a part of was can't remember the name of it. It was with Hardy and Braylon Gilbert.
Yeah,
Remember
he
that one?
wrote.
Had a verse or something in
Yeah,
it.
they got some kind of a big writers get together thing. They got together and wrote. What was that song they wrote?
It was a good song. It was a political song. It
It was
was
like it's kind of like a ironic song, right? Like the one like what they were saying was like,
yeah, it was like the opposite of
yeah, it was like
everything.
opposite what they're saying. Yeah,
It was the worst country song of all time.
yeah,
And
that,
so, yeah, it was talking
yeah,
about how great Putin and Kim Jong
yeah,
Un was. Say it,
yeah,
yeah, and it
yeah,
was just kind of, I guess, backwards in that way. But it was great, and
yeah,
his verse was great. He was big there for a minute. He was probably, I would say, he's probably in the top 3 to 5 country artists about the time that "As Good as I Once Was" came out. Around that time, not saying that that was like his best song, but it's just like he was real popular around that
yeah,
time.
yeah. But um, him and who was that comedian? Rodney Carrington.
Maybe.
But him and Rodney Carrington and I can't remember who else. They did that movie or whatever it was, like a movie made for like CMT made a movie or something. It didn't was like a big theater movie, but it just came out. I think CMT put it
Can't
out.
remember.
It was like a movie based off of Beer for My Horses. The song.
Oh well, I was
It's
getting ready
made.
to say "Beer from a Horse" is
Yeah,
another great
it
one.
was like I think it was made or based off of that kind of because I think Toby was the sheriff, Rodney Carrington was his deputy or something, and
Hmm.
Willie Nelson might have even been in it because he was on the song with him. But you need to check that out. That was I had forgot about that. It just kind of come to me, but that's
For the
back when
music
he was.
videos, I mean, it's like a little movie.
Yeah.
Watching the music video, I
Well, I
thought that
think
was more.
I'm sorry. I think
No,
that's
you.
what inspired it. I think Rodney might have made an appearance in the music video, maybe or something, or
Yeah, I think it was him and
something
Willie
like
and
that. Yeah. So I think that come off of that. So he was huge. I mean, like I said, they were doing that because Rodney Carrington was huge at that time too. Like he was the funniest person in the world at the moment, or it felt like he was. Um. So yeah, I mean, at that moment in time, he was as far as hitting popularity at that moment, he was as big as anybody for a little stretch.
yeah, and the My List song before we get off of this, of you says throwback song. That song, to me, was not to sound like too like cheesy, I guess, but uh, just when I got into working and my adult life and with my kids and stuff, that song has been like my anthem to myself for
Mm,
years. The way that I look at my job and the way I look at my spare time outside of that, I don't neglect on the responsibilities that I have, but I make sure to make time for the things that, my kids ain't gonna remember me going out here and mowing the grass, but they'll remember the time that I did that instead of maybe throwing a ball with them.
yeah,
Uh, like I said, I'm not neglecting those things, but it's one of those things where I try to focus on spending time with them, and that song meant a lot to me in that way. So it's not one that I mean I still had it in my so many songs I listen to. I've had it in there for years. Well, it's probably been out almost 20 years now. You have the date on it?
It was 2001.
Yeah, so 23 about 23 years. So
yeah, I love that song. Like you said, it's very well told. Like just it's a simple song, but it gets to the point, and it really resonates with a lot of people. So, and that's coming out, shortly after September 11th and all that, and it kind of put people's priorities into perspective and what was important and what wasn't, and so it was a good one.
all right, I guess if you want to, we can go ahead and tackle this high school stuff real quick.
I was going to mention this real fast.
Oh, go ahead.
Have you seen this AI generated thing that turns it has the legendary NBA players if they were white and Larry Bird if he was black? It just
I've not seen that.
Like here, for example, that's Jordan.
I can't see
You
it
can't
on
see it? Okay.
yours.
Well,
where
it just takes
yeah.
I guess AI did it and generated it, and it is wild looking.
That is weird.
It's really hilarious. Jordan looks like I'm not even sure. There's a couple of them that are like you can tell it's really bad. They didn't do a good job. Like Kobe's, He looks like one of the aliens off Men in Black. Like his skin don't look right.
Yeah.
But there's a few that look like real people. I mean, real people, and it doesn't make any sense why they made them look the way they did. Like LeBron James doesn't really look anything like what you would think it would look like. I'm not sure why it did like it did, but it's funny because it just, I don't know. Larry Bird's, it's hilarious.
He's the best one.
He kind of he looks like, oh man, I can't remember his name. The comedian that was so good back in the day. I can't believe I can't remember his name. Like everybody, talks about him back in the way back in the day. Like, yeah, he kind of looks like Richard Pryor a little bit.
Yeah.
And then Barkley's is hilarious. Shaq's is hilarious. Shaq looks like Kane from the WWE.
It's like Kane.
Yeah, kind of a little bit. James Harden's is hilarious. But what's the funniest one is Kyrie Irving looks like Aaron Rodgers. I'll send you this.
Rodgers.
It's what it looks like Aaron Rodgers. I'll send it to you and you can look at it. Dennis Rodman looks like Machine Gun Kelly or something. It's really funny. But I'll send it to you. You can look at it. But well, I can't.
I'll try and pull it up, but
I copied it. I don't know if I can't send it. I guess, but I'll figure out a way to get it to you at some point.
I was trying to
go. It's on Facebook. It's where I found it.
Oh well, I'd have to go on Facebook. I was going to try to find it on here and screen share it.
It's pretty funny. But yeah, we can get into some high school stuff if you want to. We got some district tournaments going on, this week. I don't know if anybody's playing tonight or not. I don't think many people are, but
there's a few
of them tonight.
Yeah.
I don't know how you want to do it.
I was just going to run through them because there's not that many. I thought I'd run through the guys just Monday and Tuesday because that's probably not even like 8-9 games, and then just go from there. Unless you want to, is there any that you want to highlight beforehand or anything like that?
No, I'll jump. You do that, and then I will jump into possible region matchups and stuff like that.
Okay, I figured that way. We just rapid fire go through. Start here on Monday. Wasn't too many, but yeah, like you said, we're getting started we're getting started in the district tournaments and stuff. I know that everybody's excited for regions, and we're going to tell you why here in a second because there's a lot of exciting matchups, possibilities anyway that we have coming forward. But yeah, just starting there Monday, Patrick Henry beat Northwood 75-41. Cole Kaywood had 26 points. I think he might be the one that of the brothers that was out, if I'm not mistaken, because one of them was injured until tonight. No, so it's Cade actually that was injured. So it was the brother, but Anyway, yeah, he had a heck of a game. Then you had Rural Retreat beat Holston 50-36. Conway Martin had 12 points and 8 rebounds and 4 blocks. Rural Retreat ended up getting the win there. That was the Hogo first round. I think that they played Chilhowie tonight. I ain't got the score on that one yet, but Wise County Central beat Ridgeview 80-61. Ethan Collins had a triple double, 21 points, 13 assists, 10 rebounds. Union beat Lehigh 74-52. Cam Bostic had 24 points. Rashawn Anderson had 20. Paul Huff with 11. And then let's see, for Lehigh, you had Brennan Pendergraph with 21 points that led the way there. And that was the guys from Monday night. Any of those stick out to you that you want to talk about?
Patrick Henry, when they're healthy, I think will be able to really be a dangerous team to play in the Hogle-Higgy. They could upset whoever in that one, and especially if they can get to that third place.
Well, they're out now, but
They're
I
what?
was gonna get they end up losing tonight, but I was gonna get to that one. That game just concluded, but they played Honaker tonight.
But they'll play for third
Well,
place.
yeah, I mean like as far as district goes in the Hoga-Higgy.
So I'm saying, but they'll play a third place game probably.
Oh yeah, well they may do that. I didn't know where they were as far as in the bracket, but
well, they were. I would if they already played Honaker, that means they won their playing game probably to get to play Honaker. I would imagine that's how that went because Honaker would be the 1 seed, so they probably played tonight's probably the semifinals. If I had to guess, but
so they'll play the third place game.
Yeah, you got to have a third
against,
place.
Okay, yeah, you're right. Well, I was looking at it now.
If I don't know how districts do that, I'm assuming they'll have a third place game, unless they got it set up some other way where they have some other way to determine who's third place because each district gets 3 teams in a region, so they'll have to have a third place somehow. But
which we'll get to that here in a second.
What was the score tonight?
In that one, I had it pulled up here. Let me find it. So the other Kaywood brother, he came back tonight. Got to play, but they ended up losing tonight's game, 59-43.
Yeah, so I mean, you know what I'm saying. You can see if they're. I mean, I'm sure. Well, I'm sure being out didn't help any, but I can see them on a good night. The way since them two in there both together and everybody playing good, I can see them upsetting somebody or something. I'm not sure how it all work out in the region. We'll look at that in a minute, but
yeah. Well, just to continue on with this, because I know that we're already getting ready to jump into regions because there's so much stuff that's going on. Because we're a few days after some of the first games. But Monday there, the girls, Patrick Henry beat Holston 42-33. Cheyenne Adair had 17 points in that one. Then we also had Chilhowie. Girls beat Northwood 48-19. Peyton Hester had 12 points to lead Chilhowie. Then you had Rye Cove beat Castlewood 54-26. Rye Cove continues to look pretty impressive out there. In a very competitive district. Jalen Rogers had double-double, 11 points and 10 rebounds. And then Kelly Lamb had 7 steals in that one. Thomas Walker in Twin Springs. Thomas Walker had 52, Twin Springs 31. Grundy and Hurley over in the BDD. Grundy girls beat Hurley 59-29. A pretty lopsided victory. Kate Bostic had 15 points and 6 rebounds. Then Brianna Stacy led Hurley with 13 points. And me and you talked about her there earlier. You had mentioned her. Hawthorne had a pretty good game for Twin Valley. She had 27 points and 17 rebounds as they beat Council 49-26. Twin Valley continues to have a pretty good year, but Council, I think they're going to be in the third place game, I think, if I remember looking right.
Yeah, but Hurley should play tomorrow night. Or
Yeah.
tomorrow day, actually, it's 4 o'clock tomorrow.
Yeah. And so Ella Rasnick in that one had 15 points. I think they've been pretty impressive this year, all things considered. So I hope they end up, having a good showing there tomorrow because I like to see them, see what they do in regions.
Well, I got a chance to watch them over at Twin Valley Monday night, or last Friday. I'm sorry, not Monday, Friday night. They're a very young team. I don't think they have any. I don't want to say that. I don't think they have any seniors in their starting lineup. Their two best players are a freshman and a sophomore. At least what I seen Friday, that's the case. I'm not saying that's always the case, but the two best players I seen Friday night that they had, which they had a girl hurt. I'm not sure. You know what I mean? Like if she's normally in the starting lineup, I haven't watched them play all year, so I don't know. But she was in had her foot in a boot, so hopefully she gets healthy soon. But I'm not sure where she fits in because, like I said, I'm not familiar with their team overall. But to have that to have some young talent, Neil obviously knows the game of basketball, and I think their I don't know what their win total was last year, but I'm sure they've probably surpassed it this year. They're trending in the right direction for sure, and with him at the helm over there, they're only going to get better, especially if those girls buy into what he's trying to teach them and stuff like that. And we'll work pretty hard and keep working and stuff. They could be a real contender next year because Twin Valley's young too. They lose Hawthorne. She's their only senior, but they're young, but they didn't have a JV girls team this year, so I don't know what they got coming up. So I mean, I'm not sure what Grundy's. I'm not sure if they're graduating. Hurley's been getting better and better every year. It could be a very competitive district next year in girls, so we'll look forward to that. But tomorrow the third place game, Council and Hurley. Winner of that will go to region as a third seed for BDD. But I think Neil's done a great job over there this year.
Yeah, he definitely has, and shout out to Ella too because Neil shares those videos on X, and she's always putting in work. And that that had to pass down from Neil because Neil, I think he's still doing that. So she's always putting in the work, and you can see now how it's paying off.
Well, that's another situation like we've talked about with several of the guests we've had on and players that daughter or son and daughter or whatever with the dad coaching, what that's like and how that dynamic is. It can't be easy, because especially I think it was who was that we were talking to about that? One of them was talking about they made sure that whenever they got home, they weren't coaching anymore, and stuff like that, which I think is real important. But that's got to be a stressful thing trying to coach with with your kid to be on a team, and especially in their case because when your daughter is obviously she's the best player. You're gonna have a lot of people saying a lot of junk, I'm sure. Is he giving her? Is he not hard enough? Is he too hard? Whatever. It don't matter what you do. Somebody's going to complain no matter what. He could be too hard on her, and they would say, "Oh, he shouldn't be hard on her," or he wouldn't be hard enough on her, and then they'd say, "Oh, he's giving her a pass." Like it would be an impossible situation, but I think he's done a great job, obviously, and I think I just think people overall are too. I think with this day and age, with the way social media is, it's easy for people to be critical or voice their opinion behind a screen on a keyboard, especially when a lot of people that complain about a lot of things don't know what they're talking about anyway. So hopefully,
Yeah.
I hope this younger generation doesn't. In a way,
Mhm.
they have to experience it, I guess, because that's the way it's where we live in now. Not reading these comments or not, paying attention to what people say on the internet, because that's life now for the kids these days moving forward. And anything they do, they're going to have people that are going to be able to feel free to say whatever they want on the internet. We didn't have to worry about that. It's hard to tell some of the stuff that we would have heard people say about us if this was more of a what you might have been around when all this Facebook and all this was around. It wasn't a thing when
Yeah, it
I
was a little bit, but I
yeah, the
mean,
only
I
thing
think,
we had was Virginia
yeah.
preps, and there was on there was some stuff. If you wasn't kind of thick skinned, there might have been some stuff on there that would have bothered you. But I never let anybody's opinion get to me. I didn't really care. If the guys that I was on that team with, that's all that my family obviously, but those people that I played with, those are the only opinions I ever cared about.
Well, I think that it's not just a local, like, you know, a Southwest Virginia problem. It's a worldwide problem. I
Yeah,
think
for
that
sure.
I wish people would take as much joy and dedicate themselves to praising each other's you know good traits, good qualities, instead of always trying to pick on trying to be critical and nitpick on things. And I mean, we talked about the 49ers at the beginning of this podcast. Um, Perfect example is Brock Purdy. I mean, Brock Purdy's done nothing to, cause any disturbance and stuff on his team. He's a great teammate, great character from all standards that we can see. He's successful, uh, but everybody does this whole game manager thing, and it's not that it's even a bad thing to be a game manager, but it's so confrontational of a topic that's why it gets brought up. It's not that there's a lot of, I mean, that's a whole nother debate. But the point I'm making though is that confrontation and um, you know back and forth like that. That's what draws views, and like you see it all over social media. They like posting stuff like that because it drives up the comment section. It drives up the interaction, and that's how they get paid. And I know that it's not as big, local as far as getting paid for the negative comments, but I think everybody's just so trained now to just not be okay with praising somebody and just, talking about the good they're doing. Everybody's wanting to be so critical. And I just think I think it trickles down. I think you see it in media and with entertainment in general, with celebrities and sports and music. And everybody has to say something to get a little clickbait or to get some kind of fight going because that's how they make their money. And I think that it just, I'm not, I mean, we all have to look at ourselves in the mirror and you know, make our own decisions. But I just think when you look at it overall, I think it comes a lot from the world we live in now. It just pays to be confrontational.
Well, it does, but also that those are professionals, and whether it's right or wrong, I don't. I mean, I don't think those professionals really read it, let that get to them very much. If they do, then they need to re-examine how they're going about things. But my point was, you're asking 14 to 18-year-old kids in this world we live in of internet that is that everybody can have an opinion and it's be instant and get on there if they see it. You're asking them to either take all that in and see it and either change who they are, because if you're a person that cares about what other people think, then if you see some negative things being said or whatever, then it's gonna bother you, and then you're gonna have to and it's gonna mess with you when you're younger. Or if you're gonna have to tell people who like that to just kind of grow a hard shell and not let just not don't care what people think, and that can be a good thing, but that can also you know make people be a little bit, colder and not as open to people, I guess. You know what I mean? Like it's not something that I had to deal with, or anybody had to deal with back in the day, when the worst thing that you were going to hear was somebody come up and say it to you in person or through the grapevine. You hear things, but there wasn't this opportunity for you to get on there and read all this stuff being said about you, and nowadays kids are having to deal with that. And I think, I just think it's a shame that people, I mean, it's a free country. Everybody's entitled to say whatever they want to say and post whatever they want to post. But it's like you said, it's just a negative world we're living in, and there's not enough praise for a lot of things, that everybody wants to find the negative. And also another thing I think is a problem is, and it used to be, you have a problem with the way things were going or whatever, you just go talk to somebody about it. You go talk to a coach, or you go to if your problem was with the coach, and you either talk to him, or you go above him and talk to a principal or a school member or something like that. But you would do it, and it wouldn't be plastered all over Facebook or Instagram or whatever for everybody to read. Now people just, instead of going and having a conversation and addressing it in person, or man to man or whatever, they feel like, I'm gonna post about it. And I just think it's harder for these players. I just don't think. I mean, it's part of it, so they'll have to get used to it and figure out the best way to go about it. But it's just another thing they got to deal with, that luckily we didn't have to deal with as much when we played.
Yeah, and before we get off that, I do want to say something my uncle had told me a long time ago. I never forgot. We can, and I know this is more of maybe from student to student, but I mean, you can bash each other, or you can talk about this team, that kid, whatever. But there's a good chance, living in a small town, that you're going to end up working with these people. That kid that you're talking about could come out of high school and end up working with you the next day. I mean, you don't know. I mean, it doesn't happen all the time, but it could.
Yeah.
So, I mean, these are human beings, and yeah. I mean, that's a whole nother topic we can go on for a while, but
Yeah, I don't even know how we got here, so that's my bad. Let's get back to back.
no, you're good.
Back to
You're good. Just to finish out Tuesday, there's not many games there, but Thomas Walker got a win against Castlewood. I got a little bit of redemption there. Dishman, top scoring leader, I think, still maybe in single A area. Maybe I'm not real sure, but I mean, he's up there regardless. He had 45 points the last time he played Thomas Walker. This time, Thomas Walker ended up beating him 65-51 and held him to a season low 12 points. So that was a good win for them. Nick Kimberlin had 21 points for the Pioneers. So solid win there. Rye Cove beat J.I. Burton 70-53. Carter Roach Hodge had 28 points and 8 rebounds and 2 assists for the night. So heck of a game for him. Hurley beat Twin Valley 64-42. They had split the series, I think, leading up into this game. But Hurley took this one. Landon Bailey and Landon Atkins both had 17 points in this one. Lucas Dotson ended up leading Twin Valley with 12 points and 13 rebounds and 3 steals. Grundy, who's been having I think, a great stretch here towards the end. I was telling Jory the other day, I was talking to him. I'm not saying they wasn't good or anything before, but I think they've kind of took it up a notch over this last month. I think they're a real serious contender in single A right now. But they beat Council 71-35. Landon Johnson had 20 points and 4 assists in that one. Jonah Looney with 13 points and 5 boards. And Kyle Hunt had 13 points. I think they're even still struggling with some injury issues and stuff, what Jory had told me. So, I think they're going to probably come out of BDD there with the championship, and I think going into regions, it's going to be exciting to see how they match up. And I know that you already have one that we had talked about the other day. I'm sure we'll talk about here in a few minutes with them going forward. Marion beat Richlands 82-57. Katie Burchett had 23 points in that one. Lebanon beat Tazewell 73-55. Andy Lambert had 22 points in that one. Hunter Music 16 points. They had a big win the other day as well. They beat, was it Graham? I believe the first time since 1980 something. It'd been a long time since they beat Graham, so that was a huge win for them. I think that's after falling to Grundy. If I'm not mistaken. I think Grundy that had beat them. Just a few games for the girls. Gate City beat Union 44-39. Jaden Carrico had another stellar game. She had 33 points. Then you had Ridgeview beat Lehigh 84-27. Katie Hill had 14 points. Braylon Strouth had 13, and Abshire had 11. It's pretty good spread out scoring there. Then Graham girls beat Tazewell 67-20. And that's about all I got as far as for Monday and Tuesday. Just to throw it out there, just so you, because I know going into regions, these are relevant to what we're getting ready to talk about. Some of the scores that dropped tonight: Gate City beat Y Central 51-42. No, I don't have any stats for these games, but Rural Retreat, they dropped that one. They lost to Chilhowie 66-33. So blowout there, and that was the other semifinal game for the Hogo. Go down through here real quick. Union beat Abingdon 63-48.
Wow. Was it
Yep.
that was an upset, I think.
That would have probably been, that had been the semifinal for the Mount 7,
yeah,
right? So because you had Wise and Gay City.
Because I think, who'd you say beat Ab Union? I think Union had to play like a first round, a quarterfinal game to get to Aberdeen. I want to think Aberdeen was a higher seed, and so that was an upset. And apparently not just an upset; they beat them bad. It sounded like, so that was kind of not so much that Union beat Aberdeen, but the score was more surprising. But I think it was an upset though, because I think Aberdeen probably was a higher seed.
And we already talked about the other Hogo Higgy semifinal with Honaker and Patrick Henry. No surprise. Varsity girls, Honaker beat Patrick Henry. No offense to Patrick Henry, it's just Honaker girls are just on another level right now. They won 75-6 tonight. Those scores just blow my mind every time. Yeah, they at one point they had a 51-0 run going.
Oof.
That's wild. I mean, it's crazy.
That's, I don't even know what to say about that.
No. I mean, I was trying to get on through here. I guess that's it from what I'm seeing as far as what's reported right now. So if you want to, but before you jump into those regions, I just want to give a shout out to two people. It was announced this week, Madison Looney signed her letter of intent to play at Wise. Give a shout out to her. And,
so she's a senior this year, right?
Yeah. Yeah, based on what I'm pretty sure she is, yeah.
Originally from Buchanan County girl. Congratulations to her.
Yep. And this is on football, but Brody Patterson from Tazewell signed at VMI to play. So just give a shout out to them too. And we can hop into the regions.
I was going to say, did we ever, I'm not sure when it happened, but I know Parker, Bandy, and
we talked about it, but yeah, we can do it.
And big guy, what was
Parker and Tyler
Cole, signed at UB Wise also, yeah.
Yep.
So a lot of local talent signing locally here. I like it.
And I like to hear that after, we had Tester on that one episode, and he had said the coaching staff, he believes now, has kind of gotten away from the recruiting locally type strategy that they used to have when he played. And it seems like there's a lot of people here locally, and even not deep into Southwest Virginia, but still relatively local, that's going over to Wise to play. So I think that's a great sign.
Yeah. And shout out Emma McCamus, 2,000 points as a junior.
Right about that one, yeah.
I'm pretty sure she's a junior. which is ridiculous. I mean, that's ridiculous. But you know, they've played. This is gonna sound like I'm making a excuse or like a reason that she's got it, but she's played a lot of ball games to be a junior because they've went to state. I think every year she's been there, been in.
But
so
because I mean, in good part, but
because
of
of her, right? Yeah, I'm saying,
I mean,
but
she's
like
that good. Yeah.
So when you're that good and you play, you know, you put yourself, or you and your team have put yourself in position to play that many more games. You can add them up real quick, but she's. I'll be real excited to see next year where she ends up signing that play. She's
and
you need to watch. You need to watch her play. She's very good.
Yeah, she's the all-time leading scorer too, if I'm not mistaken, at Y Central now, and that's I know it's not like a super long history, but I'll tell you, I watched Logan Reynolds play, and she was amazing. I was very impressed when I saw her. So to see Emma pass her up too.
Central's not been around.
Been a minute, but
not been around a long time, but
yeah,
they've won like. I mean, they're a state contender every year, pretty much since they've come together. So, it's a very good. Lot of history coming out of there, and for girls, you have Coach Dotson there, that's legendary. So, he's produced a lot of good players over the years.
To just throw out some maybe some matchups we might see in regions. I know there's plenty that we can talk about that could happen.
I start in 2A because I just know less about the 2A than I do the 1A or not. Yeah, 1A. But where you only have the Mountain 7 in the Southwest district in Region D, 4 teams from each district make it to the region, so you'll have 8 teams. I don't know how. I'm assuming they just go the 1 seed from each plays the 4 seed, and then 2 to 3s play. I'm not sure how it's all going to line up in the districts, but the Southwest district to me is crazy wide open. Like you have Lebanon, who I feel like when they're hitting and playing good can beat Graham. They did their night and beat anybody in that district. You have Graham, who I feel like is good enough to any night win it, and I think Virginia High on any good night can be the team to win it.
So Marion's been playing. There's been a few games this year they've been playing pretty impressive. So you never know.
I think I think Virginia High, Gate City are your 2. If I had to pick, I think those are 2 favorites. Maybe. Then I think you got Lebanon and Graham in there. I don't know how that will match up cross bracket with the other districts, but I think those 4 are teams to watch. I think Central, and obviously maybe Union now if they beat Abingdon. I think you got a few in there that Mountain 7. I think Gate City obviously it's a favorite. Coming out of there as probably the favorite to win the region this year, but you never know. So that'll be I think it'll be a very competitive region. I'd be afraid to even pick a favorite, honestly, other than maybe Gate City. But I wouldn't be surprised to see any of them teams playing in the region finals.
I was going to say Gate City's on a pretty impressive win streak, ain't they?
I think so. I'm not sure what it is, but
I can tell you. I think it's like upwards of close to 15 games unless they dropped one.
Yeah, I'm saying they're obviously the favorite. I just mean,
I was just want to point that out. I mean,
you throw a Virginia High out there, or a team. Some of these teams like Lebanon and Graham, throw them in there. I don't know how the matchups or stuff, but then in 2D girls, I don't know anything about 2D girls much other than I know Central is obviously Central and Ridgeview is pretty good. Virginia High and Marion possibly in there. I think it'll end up being Central and Ridgeview in the region championship game, but you never know who could upset who. Central is the favorite to win it. I think, but that's why you play the games. You don't know what's going to happen. I actually do have the bracket laid out for 1A. So here's the interesting thing about this. The way it falls this year, where you have it rotates every year, like what district's number one avoids the bracket with the 2 1 seeds in the same bracket. This year, the Cumberland district has that honor. And in the first round, the Cumberland District 1 will have to play the winner of the Hogle-Higgy 3 and the Black Diamond 3. And this kind of comes into play where we was talking about earlier about maybe like a Patrick Henry or like a Robert Reed or somebody like that coming out of the Hogle-Higgy for that third place. I can see them third place Black Diamond District is going to be either Twin Valley or Council. So I would expect that third place Hogle-Higgy team to come out of that game. So that's where I said it could be interesting because the Cumberland District this year, like we talked about, is down from past years. Eastside will be the number one seed, but they are a very, very good defensive team. They play very good defense. They play hard. But this is one of those weird years where it wouldn't surprise me to see a third place Hogle-Higgy team be in a very competitive game in that first round for that number one team out of the Cumberland District. So I wouldn't be shocked if you've seen a number one seed get upset. The winner of that first round game will play the winner of the Hogle-Higgy 2 and the Black Diamond 2, which would be Black Diamond 2 is going to be Hurley. And then the Hogle-Higgy 2, I'm assuming it's going to be Chilhowie. I think they'll go by regular season and automatically gets to 1, so I think Chilhowie will be the 2. So you could possibly have there's a lot of different matchups, but if I had to, my prediction there would be, I'm not sure how they're even going to go about that, but that's going to be a very interesting bracket. But then here's the thing, you got on the bottom part of that bracket, this is the problem. This is kind of what you run into as far back as even the old way we did it back when I played with only 6 teams went to the region. A lot of times the way we rotate these districts, your 2 best teams a lot of times play in the semis of the region, which is, you can't help it. It's how it is. But this year I feel like probably be one of those years because you're going to have the Hogle-Higgy number 1, which is Honecker, against the Cumberland's 2 playing in the first round. Then the Black Diamond 1 will play the Cumberland 3. I'm assuming Homeacre and Grundy will both advance to play each other in the semis. And I was really hoping these 2 teams, if they play, would play in the region championship game. But it's not going to happen. If they both make it and play each other, it's going to be in the semis. And I think that's a shame because I think that could be a very, very good matchup.
Yeah. When do you think that? Well, first off, it's at Wise. Is that right? Is that where it's located at?
I'm pretty sure it's at UVA Wise. Yes.
Yeah. So when do you think that the semifinals of that would be?
The semifinals for this one will be Thursday, February 22nd.
So next Thursday.
Yeah. I don't know if it says 7:00 and 8:30. I don't know if the girls will play their semifinals on Wednesday or if they'll play earlier, just play the games before them. I'm assuming they'll play the games. I'm assuming they'll play before this, but it could be different nights. We need to.
Yeah, I would have liked to. I work next Thursday, so that's
Yeah.
I'll look and see what I can do. I'd love to go see that game. I mean, that's to me, like you said, I think it's 2 of the best teams on the boys' side in that region.
Yeah,
especially the way Grundy's been playing.
I think Grundy, like we talk about getting hot at the right time of life, I think they're getting better at the right time of the year. And there's, from everything I've read and seen on their score, they seem to be very well balanced. They got, it's never one person or, even 2 people that you got to that you see score. They seem to be a very well balanced team. They got size and and guards, which is kind of like Honecker. That could be that. I'm saying that could be because they still have to win that first round game. Both teams do, but presumably that they're both going to advance, and I think that will be a very, very good game. And honestly, I
You
think
got exciting matchups too. You got Keene and Looney, right?
yeah, you got
The two bigs
them.
there. I mean,
Yeah,
that's
them going at it. Grundy's got another guy that's taller than Looney. See, they could throw out. I mean, I'm not sure if he starts. No, I'm not. I'm gonna find out tomorrow. I'm going to watch Grundy play tomorrow night. In the district championship, so I'll get a better idea of what they have. But yeah, you got all kinds of good matchup there. I think the pure athletic edge probably goes towards Honecker, but Grundy, I know a lot of those guys skill wise are very solid, and they're also athletic as well. But yeah, it's probably two different styles. Honecker probably likes to play a little faster than what I'd imagine Grundy likes to play, but like I said, I'll know more about that after I watch Grundy play tomorrow night. I just think it'll be a good matchup. I think those are two best teams in the region. I've not watched Rural Retreat or Chilhowee or some of these teams out of the Hogle and I'm not discounting Eastside by no means because you can't can't count out a team like them that play defense and play hard stuff like that. I just think the eye test, what I've seen so far, I would think that those are probably the two better teams. But but like I said, it is what it is. It happens all the time where those two teams get matched up like that.
so. Do you think the Hogo 2 would be on the other side of the region? Is that
Yeah,
right?
the Hogo
So
two will.
Chilhowee presumably is what we think might be
Well, it's
the two.
it's slated already. The Hogo two will play in the first round. Will play the Black Diamond two. So you're looking at probably a Chilhowee Hurley, I guess is how
Yep,
that'll
and
work
I would
out.
probably give. So I think Chilhowee is going to be one of those teams like you kind of talked about Patrick Henry. I think. I mean, not. I don't know if you could say Chilhowee is a sleeper team because
No, I don't think. I mean,
they've been
yeah,
good. I mean
right.
but I think that I think they're a team that can make some noise
No,
too.
that's
So
yeah.
if
Go
they
ahead.
win that one, what's it look like on the second round?
That's what I was saying is this is one of those years where that Cumberland team is not your typical. I hate to even say this because, like I said, I'm not trying to say anything bad about that Eastside team because like I said, they are solid and play hard, play great defense, can shoot, have some good shooters on it. They're just, but from everything I've seen score wise, I guess is what I'm trying to say. You know what I mean? Like I've not got to watch a play. I'm just comparing scores. This could be a year where that 2 seed comes out there and goes beats that Cumberland 1 again. Even if that Cumberland 1 gets by that Hogle 3, because I'm assuming the Hogle 3 will beat the Black Diamond 3, and they'll play Eastside in that first round. I can see that being an upset. If like I said, a Patrick Henry or somebody like that, I wouldn't be.
Yeah,
This is one of
especially
those
having those
years.
guys back,
Yeah,
both of the brothers back. Yeah,
this is one of those years I wouldn't be shocked if you've seen a 3 seed come out to the semifinals and play a 2 seed. Which would kind of be crazy because you'd have two Hogle teams playing in the semis if it worked out like that. But it could be, probably if we go by the seedings, it'll be East Side versus probably I would say the Hogle 2, which would be Royal Retreat, or Chilhowee will probably beat Hurley, which I mean Hurley bit, got Bailey put some points up.
yeah, Bailey. Yeah,
Yeah, you don't ever know. I don't know anything about how some of these teams. I've compared scores to what I'm going by. So, but it'll be a fun week. Hate it's that far away, but it is what it is. So, but
so because I think that I'm almost more excited for the varsity girls. What are we
well,
looking at as far as
you got
preview for it?
it's kind of the same deal. Well, it's the same exact setup. You got the Cumberland district that gets to avoid the side of the bracket with two number 1 seeds again. So you'll have the Hogle-Higgy 3 and the Black Diamond 3, which will be, well, we don't know yet. I guess in the Black Diamond they'll be playing for that tomorrow night, I think, or maybe they played. Let's see. No, I'm not sure how they're doing that. Play that tonight. So I
No,
wonder
they played tonight.
how are they deciding the 3 seed for? Do they go by regular season? Then I guess I'm not sure how that works. How that I'm not sure how that work. How that happens. I guess they'll go by regular season, so it probably cancel. I guess.
Yeah, well, they have the third place game, don't they? I think it's
well, they ain't showing it tomorrow night. Was it showing it tomorrow night? Yeah, okay.
Yeah, it should be Council versus.
They are having it. Yeah, okay, never mind. You're right. I was thinking that was. Yeah, you're right. I'm sorry. So that won't be decided until tomorrow night who that is. But you got East Side at the Cumberland one. I think they're going to be they're a tough out. I think I'm sorry. I think they advance to the semis. Then you got the Hogle-Higgy 2 and the Black Diamond 2, which we'll know more about who that'll be. We'll know Twin Valley's wrapped up the Black Diamond 2, so that'll be them playing the Hogle-Higgy 2, which is I'm not sure who that is. Who's that going to be? Royal Retreat, maybe?
I want to say, yeah. I mean, I actually looked at it earlier. I think it is Royal Retreat.
So that could be a good game. Like I said, I've not watched Royal Retreat.
Yeah.
I don't know anything about them, so that could be a very good game. I look for Eastside to come out of that side of the region though to make it to the championship. I just think they're too well rounded and they got the too experienced there. I believe they'll make it out of that semis. And here's the interesting matchup. And I know Honaker is rolling right now, and the clear favorite. It seems like coming out of them or East Side, one or the other. Most people would probably look at Honaker just because of some of these scores, but they will have to play the Cumberland District number 2, which is J.I. Burton. To me, that is a scary game for a first round, not even a semifinal. That's just the first round of the region. That's a scary game for Honaker, I think. It almost feels like one of those trap games. Because if Burton gets hot,
a lot of star power there. Yeah, I mean, you never know.
There's a lot of good players on the court on that one for between the two teams. It's I lean more towards Honaker just because of defense, and I think they can turn Burton over a lot. And I think Burton will have a hard time stopping Honaker from scoring. But again, you got Azzy Hammond, and I cannot ever remember that other girl's name from Burton.
Williams.
You got 2 from Burton that can absolutely fill it up and can put some points on the board real quick. So that'll be an interesting one to keep an eye on. Then the other one is the Black Diamond 1 versus the Cumberland 3. It'll be Grundy versus I'm not sure who.
Probably Rye Cove.
Possibly. Yeah. So I don't know what either one of those have. That could be another interesting one to watch.
I think that'd be a pretty good game because they beat Burton.
Yeah,
one game. Yeah,
Rye Cove coming out of a
before Azzy had played, but still, nevertheless, I mean, that was a good win. Rye Cove's been playing good.
Coming out of a very competitive Cumberland District for the girls. Battle tested, been playing those good teams. Grundy maybe not as battle tested as they are. Which I said I've not watched Grundy play, so I'm not sure what they have, but that could be a close one to keep an eye on too. That being upset, but I think your region championship will be between East Side and the winner of Honaker and Burton. That's my way I look at it. That's what I would predict. And that would be a very East Side and Burton or East Side and Honaker will be a very good game.
Yeah, great defensive game.
Yeah, you have 2 different styles. East Side is more of a half court team. As far especially defensively, they don't really press a whole lot. Honaker obviously does. Taylor Clay against that press. That'd be a good one. There'll be a lot of good players in that one too. East side has the advantage there in size for sure. Inside, if they can slow the game down and control the tempo and limit Honecker's possessions, that could be a real good game if it gets that far. I mean, we're not obviously this is just guessing and stuff, but and kind of
Well, I think
previewing some
that
matchups.
yeah, we talk about Taylor quite a bit, and for a good reason. But I think they're pretty well balanced. We had talked about before. They pass it around quite a bit, but in Honecker, they are too. I mean, Nolly, Jesse, McNulty. That's three of the names that pop out, right off. But I mean, I feel like their whole team gets in on it. So it's that game is not just like this one star player versus this one star player. I mean, it's two great teams. I mean, and if you saw, like, in the past what Honecker's done winning state championships, and you saw how far Eastside got last year, they know how to win.
Yeah.
They know the formula, and I think it's a great team ball, and that matters. I think that makes it a very exciting matchup, and two great coaches, too.
Yeah, and like I said, just speaking, Burton, there was times that are not, or not that are not, but a couple weeks ago when I watched them play against Eastside, when they moving around and because they got some other shooters too. They're not just those two players, but those two players are the ones that create their own shot the most and can shoot. But they got some other girls that spot up, can absolutely shoot the lights out of it especially when they get hot. Teams like that, you never know what teams like that can if they can not turn it over
Yeah.
and they're all hitting. The bad thing we mentioned earlier about the boys coming out of whoever comes out of the region in the boys is in for some tough games. Playing against Region C, because you got George Wythe and Auburn out there that look, I don't want to say unbeatable, but they look really good. That's gonna be some be a tough opponent. That's another important thing. If you can win the region, it's a big difference in playing, having one of them come to wherever you want to play at, and you having to go all the way up their place. So that'll be a big factor too for the winner of the region. But I'm looking forward to it. This is I love Region D basketball. I always have, and followed it for a long time. Played in it and followed it, afterwards, and I think it's great. Just all these possible matchups we're talking about, but we'll know more for sure. I guess when after this weekend, we can put them to paper and actually compare them. But I think the girls Region D 2D. I think the girls are being played at. See, I think they're not. One is being played at Central. What was that? I think one might be being played at Central and one at Gate City. The boys and girls are being played in different places for the region. And then the Region 2D boys, I think, are being played. Let's see, where was that at? I can't remember where it was at, but between those two, one's been played at. Yeah, you know what I'm saying.
That's different than
I can't remember where it was at now.
Planet was, but yeah. Yeah, I mean, a lot of exciting matchups, boys and girls both. This is the time of the year that everybody looks forward to, I think. And we don't have that much left. I mean,
winding down.
I know that we have I won't mention right now who it is, but we have, two that possibly coming on next week. I think scheduled for Wednesday. And then we have we're gonna have to see who and all we can get. I mean, I don't want to. It's time for the nitty gritty. So I know everybody's kind of prepping for their teams and stuff like that. So we might have to roll out just some special guest episodes if the kids are busy. And which, if they are, I completely understand that. This is the time that everybody's gonna be hyper focused.
Yeah, for sure. You mentioned, I meant to mention it when we got done before we went into the region stuff, but I think Castlewood with the loss tonight, I think that eliminates them for the season.
Yeah, and the boys.
Yeah, so I just wanted to.
Yeah, I think it did.
Is that guy what was his name? Dishman, or is he a senior?
Yeah, that is that was his final game.
So I just want to shout out
because I actually read
him.
that earlier.
Shout out him. Great career. That's like you said, can absolutely put the points up on the board. So that's starting to some of these district tournaments getting over with. You're starting to not some teams get knocked out. Some careers are coming to an end for a lot of these players. It's a tough realization for a lot for people when it last time you're going to strap them up. So
yeah, and I wanted to give a shout out also to Coach Patrick Wade over at P Wade. We've known P Wade for quite a while, and he had a very special moment over there at Castlewood. Kane Baker got on the court and got him a bucket. The other day, I had a video of it, and it's just a special moment for him, for that team, and for the community. But you can tell how excited he was to get in there and then put some points on the board. So I definitely wanted to give a shout out to him and Coach Wade.
Yeah, for sure. And we won't talk about it much. We planned on doing some of this on some more info, more on this, but neither one of us have ever done this. So, but the state wrestling tournament is Friday. It starts Friday. Grundy, obviously the favorite in 1A. I don't know anything about anything else in the region. If there's anybody else from around here that is hopefuls for individual state or how that works, I'm not sure how wrestling does their thing. I'm sure we'll get some more information after the weekend, throughout the weekend on some of these posts. But I just want to say, for anybody competing this weekend, good luck. We wish you all the best. Hopefully somebody will bring home as many state championships as the area can hold.
Yeah, I think that not that I could tell you the names, but I saw that Lebanon, I think, has some ones out there that are pretty good, and maybe Richlands, I think, might have been the other one. But I'm not going to try to talk on it specifically because I don't know enough.
Did you know that, what's his name, the dude that was on series he was on, or was it actually the Ultimate Fighter?
Chandler Cole.
Chandler Cole.
He's on the Ultimate Fighter.
I think he's the wrestling coach at Eastside.
He is, yeah.
Okay, yeah. I seen him when I went over there to the Burton Eastside game. I seen him. I was like, I almost went up and introduced myself, but I figured he gets that way too much, and I didn't want to.
Yeah, quite a bit.
That's some crazy person.
Yeah, I would love. I'm not sure that he listens to this, but if somebody does listen that knows him, I'd love to have him on, like maybe leading up to UFC 300.
Yeah, for sure.
So I know it'll be after basketball season and stuff. So I'd like to get him on here and give a little bit of an MMA perspective, and because that's a big UFC event, and him being on the Ultimate Fighter, that's special.
Yeah.
So yeah. Talking about the Ultimate Fighter, or not Ultimate Fighter, we're talking about UFC, UFC 300. So, I guess we're done with the high school.
Yeah.
I guess I don't want to skip over anything, but when we first started this podcast, we really wanted to touch on UFC quite a bit because there's not many, I think, talk shows and stuff like that in Southwest Virginia that probably talk about it, and we love it. It's close to our heart. Some of the times we first started hanging out together, me and you, was around UFC fights. So it's just something that we love watching. Sometimes it makes us mad, and just like any other sport does. But UFC 300 is coming up, and it's a special one because it's one that you can kind of, they stack the card, and it's almost like a card to just help you appreciate what UFC has brought us. And I don't like to just talk about UFC necessarily, it is a UFC event, but MMA in general has just been so fun for us to watch. But the UFC is the top one. Stacked card right now, and I know we'll do a preview, I'm sure, on it when it gets closer to time. But I just want to talk about the main event, It's not. They don't have one right now. They're working on it. Dana White said the other day that they can make a movie on the process, the struggles they've had trying to get certain things worked out. I think most of the time Dana has something up his sleeves. I think this time they're trying to. I think they're struggling to put something together. From what I had heard or read, the kind of out of left field fight that could have happened this week was Hamzat Chimaev versus Leon Edwards for the welterweight title. And then they had been mentioned DDP fighting Hamzat because he had just beat Strickland. And even as much as I think Hamzat fighting, there's another one. But Hamzat put that to rest. He said that he wasn't fighting during Ramadan. So he's out.
Well, they kind of talked about that a little bit on the Fight Companion with Rogan when the last UFC event when Strickland and whatever his name is.
Yeah. I say DDP.
DDP.
Yeah.
And they talk about maybe the winner possibly doing that with and what's the name being Ramadan. But I think they had made a good point. I don't think either of those guys will be ready that quick because they got both of them have bad.
I don't.
Their faces were.
I don't think so either.
Swelled up, cut. Like I don't know if they'd be ready for that or not. But
and DDP's not one to rush back.
No.
I mean, he skipped out in the Izzy fight because he was not 100%.
It might not be the big money fight people want or whatever. And I'm sure people, because I think their theory too was maybe Izzy comes back and fools everybody and fights DDP also for 300. But I don't think that's going to happen either. But I think Strickland deserves the rematch myself.
I do too.
Else, but
I agree. But Dana said he ain't giving it to him yet, so it is what it is. I think Strickland has got himself into that star position now. So I honestly think he could. I mean, he'd be huge for it. But I don't see it happening. Now you could probably pull a Strickland and maybe somebody else like for a super fight, but I mean they're really gonna have. Like, here's the issue: is the fight that's out in front of everybody right now is the fight that nobody wants as a fan. And it's not that they don't want it; it's just they don't want it for 300, not the main event. And that's Belal Muhammad versus Leon Edwards. And they have said Muhammad's next for this, but nobody is excited for that fight. Not for a UFC 300 main event anyway. I mean, I'm not sure that anybody. I think you'd even have to pair it up with another main event on another card for it to be exciting. Muhammad just doesn't sell. I mean, Leon has got to where he's a pretty big name now, but Muhammad is not. So, that fight I think is there. I think Dana White is trying his best to avoid making that, or he could have already made it. I think in the back of everybody's mind, and I don't think it's going to happen, but I think if there was ever a time for it to happen and it makes sense, it would be Conor McGregor and Nate Diaz.
Well, I think to some extent, I think he's got to be trying to do something with Conor. I think that's just because I think that's why it's so complicated and they can't announce it because you're dealing with anytime you're dealing with stuff like that, there's something around it. And if it was, and it can't be Chandler because if it was Chandler, I think they'd done made that deal and that they'd have it figured out. So being Diaz, that's another one. Getting him to do it, that might be another complication. Is the money?
That's what I was gonna say. Yeah, have to do that.
But with it being so complicated to get everything figured out and signed, makes it feel like it would lean more toward it being a Conor and Nate fight instead of a Conor and a what's his name? But I don't know, man. I wish they'd. I'm probably gonna buy it anyway, so it don't really matter to me. But also, I heard rumors of the dude that I can't believe I can't remember his name. Scary dude that just won the.
Alex Pereira.
Alex Pereira and the dude, the Brit from the heavyweight.
Yeah, Tom Aspinall. And
But that's not
That had been
really a
talked
big.
about.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
not really one of those fan friendly big 300 main events either. I don't think. I think people want
Well,
to
I think
see
that's
it, but Aspinall doesn't have that
yeah.
name power yet for a headline at 300 for most people. I think it'd be. I'd love to watch that fight, but
Well, I think that's. I mean, that's a huge fight, and the fact that Pierre would be going up to his third weight
yeah,
division in the UFC, you don't
yeah,
see that often.
no,
But the thing is that, um, well, one, it had to be for the interim heavyweight title
right,
because
yeah,
John still got the main championship. But
yeah,
put that to the side, yeah. I mean, the thing about 300 is a UFC card that people will watch, that are, like, the casuals will watch. So that's why they try to uh, do a bit, not necessarily the best fight on paper, maybe, or the best like actual fight, but they want something to do service to the casuals. I
yeah,
mean, you saw it the last time when they brought Brock Lesnar back, and he got killed by what was that, DC? I think maybe in
yeah,
that one. Uh, that card is just for. I mean, that's the only card that I can see where people like that Dana will do that. He will actually try to bring something back just to kind of appease the casuals and draw in some of these older people that had watched. So yeah, in that way of thinking, that perspective, I don't see Aspinall and Pierre being the fight. I would be okay with that over Leon Edwards by far, but um, yeah, I'm hoping it's Connor and Nate. I think it makes sense as far as uh, it it checks that box with the casuals. Um, I think that it's a fight that Connor could win, and because Connor and Nate both are not very active. Let's just face it. I love Nate, uh, but they're not very active. So it might actually be a pretty good fight. It might be a 5-round fight. Uh, and I think that would be something that you would want in a main event because you're going to have to do something that would be not a letdown after you have Max Holloway and Justin Gaethje go to war for the co-main event. Because I mean that fight's going to be amazing, I'd say. Um, and so I think that not only that, but if you're thinking in Connor's mind, I mean, which is a strange place to be at, I'm sure, but uh, in Connor's mind and even in Dana's mind, and as a business going forward with him, if he beats Nate, you could kind of set him up in a way to fight Justin Gaethje for the BMF title. And I think that if Connor does come back and does actually do this, because it's all just talk until he actually comes back. But if he came back and beat Nate in that scenario, or even comes back and beats Chandler in a few months from now, um, the Gaethje fight is going to be the top fight for him, I think, left on the table. And that's just because Gaethje hates his guts so much. And I think Gaethje would actually do it. And I know it's for the BMF title, but that, I think, is the peak of what Conor has left in the UFC. I don't see him fighting Islam.
Well, see, that's the thing though, is with this new weight divisions they're adding, you're going to
If
be
they do it, that's
it.
the rumor. I mean, that's what we all
Oh, but
presume
we're
because that's
assuming it's
what
going to
he.
happen,
Yeah,
right? Which is a whole nother conversation we don't have time for. But um, just a real quick answer. Yeah, do you like that idea or no?
answer,
Just say
but
yeah. No,
it's one that.
no. Don't explain it. Just we'll do it. I promise we'll get to it on another episode.
Well, which one? 165, I guess, is what
No,
you're.
all those adding doing like whatever they're doing, like just the whole
Well, I think
new
it was just 165 is what they were doing and eliminating the. Maybe it's.
165, 175 is what they're
I
going
can't
to be
remember
doing.
which one they're. Yeah. Well, see, you got 170 is
Yeah, but
welterweight,
so they're eliminating
and
170.
155 is a lightweight.
They're adding
And
165, 175 to get that way they don't have the two 15-pound.
yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's hard for me
That's
to
not a quick
sit
answer.
here.
It's not a yes or no. A
And
yes
no, it's
or
not a yes or
a
no.
yes or no.
Yeah. I mean,
That's
I
all right.
guess to see more fighting because I think you have the welterweight division and it's all started with Connor, and not that I'm saying that he's wrong for doing
Well,
this, but this is not not the weight divisions. What I'm getting ready to say is this whole like Colby's done it. There's been other like Masvidal's done it. they'll fight once and they won't fight again for another 2 or 3 years because they're so big, their star power is so much that they'll just wait for the big fights. And so I just want to see more fights from your top contenders. That's my gripe.
Well, I'm not trying to defend him, but Connor's coming off the broken leg this time.
Well, yeah, but it's, I mean, he was off before, and Nate's the same way.
The other
and I'll be critical of Nate.
The other times, well, no, not their fault because they didn't give him fights. You watched the documentary, but anyway, moving on, getting off this before you get real mad and start talking about stuff. You wanted to mention? Yeah. Did you want to mention some concerts or something you was talking about earlier?
Yeah. Before I got off here, this is local, so this is a pretty big deal for around here. And you've been to this concert before, but the Bristol Country Thunder, they changed their time. I remember an episode we had done when they announced that they were changing it. I think it was right after you had went to it this past year or in the fall. So I'm going to pull that up here for you. So now it's going to be June 28th and 29th. Hopefully get a little bit better weather because I think the ones you've went to, it rained on most of them. And the lineup was just announced. So I'm going to start from the bottom here and work my way up. And then we'll talk.
We ain't got a lot of time if you want to just hurry and get the highlights.
Well, I'm not going to. I was just going to run through them. I'm not going to talk about each one of them. Yeah, I was just going to run through them. So start from the bottom up, ending with the headliners: Emily Ann Roberts, Josh Ross, Jake Worthington, Travis Denning, Shenandoah, Priscilla Block, Lone Star, Trace Atkins, Bailey Zimmerman, and then your two headliners is Hardy and Cody Johnson. So just initial reaction to that.
I will be there.
Yeah, a lot better lineup, I think, this time than last time. I'm not saying Jelly Roll was huge, but I think from top to bottom, I think it was better this time.
Maybe top to bottom, but you're not convincing me that you get any better than Eric Church and Brooks and Dunn.
Well, no, I mean, yeah, I mean, I get that. I'm talking about just from
that's easy overall. Now. Easy now. Yeah, I know everybody doesn't hold my opinion, but everybody else ain't here right now. I'm the one here right now. So
yeah, my bad. Not the top.
It's
not the top, but
very very good lineup. That's a lot of different good people there. Some throwback people in there also mixed in with it, which will be very good. So I'm really looking forward to it. I don't know that Melissa gets to go this year. She said she had to work that weekend, so I'm not sure if she's going to be able to get off or not. So I may be soloing it, but I'm sure I'll find somebody that I know there. Maybe hopefully y'all can go or something, and we'll get together.
Well, I don't really know much about like Emily Ann Roberts, and I'm sure I've listened to some of her songs, but I can tell you if you haven't listened to Josh Ross, Jake Worthington, those are two newer guys. Check them out because I love both of them. Josh Ross is like getting huge right now. He just dropped an EP or an album not long ago. And then Worthington, if you like that old like 90s country, early 2000s, he's got that sound to him. And then, I mean, we know what Denning is, and we've seen Shenandoah at the Grand Ole Opry, and they're pretty good. And I don't think you can go wrong with Lone Star or Trace Atkins. So, I mean, those are just the other acts. But
Lone Star's one that I never thought I'd get to see, so I'd be happy to see them.
Yeah,
Trace Atkins is really good in person. That'd be fun.
Cody, and then Hardy, he's going to bring it
obviously
too.
Hardy would be amazing. Cody Johnson's the one that you would have thought that I'd be able to see by now that I keep missing. So I'm very happy to mark because he's one of my favorites right now. So I'd be very happy to get that one marked off the list.
And I think they haven't announced it yet, but I think that he might end up being the headliner from the last night. So
probably. We were talking about that concerts, and Melissa had sent me that lineup that we just talked about. And then mentioned she had to work. Then she sent me, knowing me the way she knows me, she sent me this one. And this would be, I think, a 7 or 8 hour drive for us. but we were considering. Well, she might not be as serious as I am, but I like to think that we are seriously considering driving down there for this and taking some vacation days. And let me start off with this throwback that Nellie's gonna be there. But this next one is from like straight out of high school for me. Big and Rich featuring Gretchen Wilson.
Wow.
Let's go. Count me in.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Then you got a few other people there, up and comers. Oliver Anthony will be there. Parker McCollum. And then the three headliners, Jelly Roll, Hardy, and the GOAT himself, Eric Church.
Wow. Yeah, that would be a great one. Yeah, I mean, especially with the throwbacks too.
Yeah, I'm on board. If you can give me Eric Church, Hardy in the same weekend, that's enough adrenaline to keep me going for a long time. Yeah. And then you throw
Jelly Roll
sprinkle. Oh yeah, but straight adrenaline though. Eric Church and Hardy, like that's you know me well enough to know that's one of those. Blood, I'm not going to. That's might be too much for me to deal with in one weekend. But
they'll probably perform together some too.
But you talk. I mean, I'm not sure. I'm sure this won't work out to where I'll be able to go. But it's really caught my eye. And I don't know where Coleman, Alabama is, but hopefully we might be finding out. So
yeah,
I just wanted to run that by.
That'd be a heck of a lineup, yeah.
But the problem with that is we'll just be getting back for like a month. It's like literally a month to the day almost. We'll be getting back from the beach from the CM, whatever it's called down there, the festival we go to down there. So I'm not sure this is really even an option. I just love that lineup. I thought that was a good one just because you got
might get a good deal. You never know.
Big and Rich. I didn't know Big and Rich was even performing anymore.
I didn't think they were,
especially Gretchen Wilson for sure. I didn't know they were even doing anything. So that's that'd be awesome.
Somebody I work with, I don't know where he was. I'll have to ask him when I go back to work Friday. But he ran into was it John Rich, ain't it? John, I think it's his first name. Yeah, he ran into John the other night somewhere. Took a picture with him. Put on Facebook. Cool. Yeah, that's awesome.
Oliver Anthony's going to be at Country Music. The one I can't remember what this CMFF Carolina Country CC
CC
Carolina Country Music Festival. So CCMF, that's what it's called. It's at Once a Beach. He's going to be down there, and I think hit that environment with him there. That'd be kind of fun.
Well, he was in Pikeville too, wasn't he? Or is that? I don't know if that's still.
I'm sure he was or he is, but I've not got a chance to see him yet. So, but yeah, there's a lot of good concerts coming up. We're going to Chris Young, I think, in some point this year from Melissa. We're taking, I think we're taking Dusty with us. Several years ago he made we're talking about it, and he once had told us next time we go see Chris Young, let him know he go with us. This was like 2 or 3 years ago. Awesome. Maybe pre-pandemic. He told us. I can't remember. Melissa remembered it. I forgot. Melissa remembered, and she said, "I guess we're taking Dusty with us." I said, "Why? What? Why would Dusty want to randomly go with us?" She said, "We told him he was going with us. Next time we went, he loves him." So I was like, "All right." So I think Dusty's in on it. So hope it should be a fun little trip.
That'd be cool.
And there was something else I was supposed to mention. What was that?
While you're thinking about it, Oliver Anthony is May 11th in Pikeville, by the way. So it hasn't happened yet.
Is that Hillbilly Days?
Not sure. It doesn't show it on the Appalachian.
He'd be a good one for Hillbilly Days.
Oh, yeah, he definitely would be. He would enjoy it himself.
Yeah.
I think he'd be out there hanging around.
I cannot remember what I told her I was going to bring up. It's going to really bother me.
You remember it afterwards.
Man.
Hey, you remember it when that night you just call back in. We'll jump back on here.
I can't remember. But yeah, I'll think about maybe next time. But hopefully we'll get that special guest episode out next next little bit, and I think it'll be a good one. And maybe see about some players maybe next week.
Yeah.
We'll get back to regular moving along here. But you got anything else, man? Or
No, that's pretty much it. Yeah, apologies that it's we've had a little bit of a delay, and you know, we don't get to choose when the stomach bug hits. It makes his own choice. And then we had other stuff too. But yeah, thank you for. I mean, if you watch all of this, and I know that we're not playing high school ball right now, or we're not coaching or anything, so we might not be quite as important to you. But if you do make it to the end of this, and thank you for the support. And yeah, I guess I mean I don't have anything else. If you're good,
good, man. Until next time, I guess.
all right. Till next time. God bless.